And this is particularly disturbing because people's lives are on the line, and you have these leftist Democrats directing the police to change policy in a way that would probably increase property damage and injury and potential loss of life. Corruption issues aren't just here in Washington, D.C. And of course, one of the big issues out there is the crazed attack of the war on the police, where you have these radical communist revolutionaries trying to kill police officers in in Portland. And you have politicians of the left coddling, protecting, and condoning, and in many ways encouraging this violent attack on the police. You got this defund the police move, which isn't about saving taxpayer money and gaining efficiencies. It's about defanging and destroying the police in terms of their ability to protect themselves and you and the rule of law. Now, there was a big issue out in Virginia, which is in Prince William County, which is a little bit west of Washington, D.C. And we filed a lawsuit against, and we filed it this week, against members of the Prince William County Board of Supervisors regarding a violation of Virginia's open meetings law. What had happened is that on Saturday night, May 30th, various protests and rioting occurred in Prince William County. I mean, you think these protests are only happening in the big cities? No, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. No town is safe from the violent communist revolution. It resulted in numerous injuries to police officers and extensive property damage, like a lot of these other riots have. Police officers reportedly used tear gas and pepper spray and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd, as in my view was appropriate. The next day, a meeting of the police department Citizens Advisory Board was held. All 5 Democratic supervisors attended the meeting, but the board's 3 Republican members were not notified of the meeting and did not attend. And the individual who chairs the advisory board happens to be the husband of one of the Democrat supervisors. How do you like them apples? They violated the Freedom of Information Act, which requires these open meetings, and holding a meeting in secret without notice to any of the Republicans. Or those citizens out there who might have an interest in how their government is operating and what the police should do when faced with violent rioters. What is the law? The law prohibits the gathering of 2 or more members of the same public body if any public business is transacted or discussed. While no votes were cast, the Democrat members posed questions and provided directives to the police to curtail the use of crowd control measures in future demonstrations, or future disturbances, as I would more appropriately put it. So we're glad to do this local lawsuit in Prince William County. And I know this is an issue that many of you have run into, especially if you're active in your local community. And honest politicians at the local level are very much aware of these open records laws and these open meetings laws. And that's why they're very careful about, any business of the government they do in an open meeting. And this is particularly disturbing because people's lives are on the line. And you have these leftist Democrats directing the police in a way that would, to change policy in a way that would probably increase property damage and injury and potential loss of life. So in Virginia, these cases tend to move quickly. So I should have a result for you, hopefully soon. Hopefully it's a positive result. We never know if we're going to win. We don't always win these lawsuits. I told you about the Schiff lawsuit. We were trying to get Adam Schiff's secret subpoenas of American citizens. Did you know that he can do secret subpoenas of American citizens? And he doesn't want to be able to be forced by any court to turn them over to anybody? But we lost that initially in that fight. But the point is, we're engaged in the battle. And going to court is important, not only because we're trying to pursue on behalf of ourselves, or in this case, on behalf of citizens, an important point. People have been damaged. The rule of law needs to be upheld, but we're educating people by suing. We're educating them. These lawsuits are educational. They're good law in the sense that they're pursuing something that needs to be pursued in the court, and the icing on the cake is they're educational. That's why the left hates Judicial Watch. Because they know what we do is effective because people pay attention to the lawsuits. They understand the issues that we're pursuing in the lawsuits. And we expose the corruption of big government, unaccountable government, and often socialist government. So I'll keep you updated on that. Next up is another interesting lawsuit against the Trump administration. Now, you know, in the beginning of the administration, in the beginning of the COVID crisis, they were spending money like a drunken sailor. Although, as someone reminded me, as Ronald Reagan used to say, don't compare